Hello everyone and welcome to day 4 of the Armageddon Championship Series, coming to you live from our studios in Berlin. I'm Grandmaster Gustafsson and I'm once again joined by the amazing Jovanka Houska. Jovanka, what happened yesterday? What did we miss?
Thank you, Jan. Yesterday was an incredible day of action where we saw 2 of the rating heavyweights drop out of the competition. First up, Vidit overcame Yangyi, but it was in the second match where it got absolutely sensational because Karthikeyan, the online qualifier, actually knocked out top seed Daniil Dubov.
Poor Daniil had to go home, but what an achievement for Karthikeyan.
Let's take a look at what happened.
Another thrilling day of Armageddon chess. In the encounter between blitz heavyweight Yangyi and Vidit, the game opened in a sharp manner. But in time trouble, Vidit blundered the game away. And in the second game, Yangyi had a dream position, but Vidit pulled a miraculous save. And it all came down to Armageddon, where everything depended on the clock. And it was Vidit that made it through.
The second counter saw the rating favorite Daniil Dubov take on the online qualifier Karthikeyan, but it was Karthikeyan who drew first blood, winning. Second game, Dubov chose his trademark Catalan opening and managed to stage a comeback, which meant we got another Armageddon. But this time, Karthikeyan did not give Dubov a chance and knocked out the favorite.
This is the Armageddon Championship Series 2023, the ultimate chess showdown of the year. There are 4 regional qualifiers. We've already seen the Americas. We're now in the middle of the Asia and Oceania event. Europe and Africa are coming up soon. There's also going to be a special Women's Week, and it all leads to the grand finale. Jovanka, how does that work?
Yeah, and there will be a total of 8 players participating in each qualifying event and 32 players in total. And in this grand finale in September, well, they'll be battling it out to find out who gets the Armageddon Championship title. And all events are going to be broadcast live from the World Chess Club Berlin on one of its most famous streets, Unter den Linden. And let's have a look at the players. And we already see 2 players grayed out. They've left the competition, Daniil Dubov and Yangyi. And today it's going to be all about those players in the upper brackets. So we have Vladimir Kramnik, what a name, as well as Nodirbek Abdusattorov and Gukesh, as well as Parham Maghsoodloo. Wow.
Big encounters to look forward to, for sure.
And talking about big things, we have to mention one of our partners, IT.com, the official partner of the Armageddon Championship Series. A domain registry like no other, it provides a platform for anyone to create innovative domains and effectively showcase their online presence. Don't miss this opportunity. Visit IT.com today and create your unique online image.
Let's look at the format of this series. It's a double elimination event, which means you lose twice, you go home. Today we're in the upper bracket, so none of these players has lost a match yet. There's no danger to go home. But who will stay in the bracket?
Exactly. So let's take a look at the pairings for today. We have Nodirbek facing off against fellow teen prodigy Gukesh, and then Parham Maghsoodloo facing off against the former world champion. And let's dive into the first pairing. We have Nodirbek against Gukesh, and whoa, this one looks like it could be in a final.
I can't wait for that encounter. These 2 guys definitely have history between them. Memorable game at the Chess Olympiad where Nodirbek defeated Gukesh. Let's learn a bit more about the players, because these are 2 of the biggest names we have in chess nowadays.
Yeah, and there we can see Nodirbek, some stats. Grandmaster at 13 years old, blitz rating 2672, and get this, the youngest world rapid champion ever in 2021. He did that when he was just 17 years old, and he also helped Uzbekistan get a surprise gold medal at the Chess Olympiad by winning a silver medal for his individual board performance. And you gotta recognize all achievements, great and small. Under 8 World Youth Chess Champion.
All this guy does is win. Let's learn some more about Abdusattorov from the man himself.
My name is Nodirbek Abdusattorov. I'm 18 years old. I was born in 2004 in Tashkent. My father and brother was playing chess when I was 4 years old in front of my eyes. I was very curious to see how they are playing, and that's how I got into chess. When I became world champion under 8 years old back in 2012, that was the moment that I decided chess would be my main job in my life. I'm generally a very universal player, and I think that's very important to have the skill of playing any kind of position. It's the most memorable moment when I became the World Rapid Champion in 2021 in Warsaw, when I beat in tiebreaks Jan Nepomniachtchi. Many top grandmasters playing in that tournament, including world champion Magnus Carlsen. I also managed to beat him in a very interesting game. I think that the most important skill in chess is to work hard and to be psychologically very strong. That's what helps me a lot.
That was Abdusattorov, but he will have his hands full today because he's meeting maybe the youngest of the prodigies that we have entering top chess. Gukesh, also a grandmaster since he's 13, started the Olympiad in 2022 by winning his first 8 games, third youngest grandmaster in the history of chess. Also loves all kinds of sports. I'm sure he can tell us more about it.
Yeah, and we'll find out more from Gukesh himself.
I'm Gukesh, I'm 16 years old from India. I've been playing chess for 9 years. My world ranking currently is 19 and I'm India number 2. My style of play is mostly universal, but I excel in attacking positions, and calculation has always been my main strength. And the proudest moment of my career so far is after my 8th round win against Fabiano Caruana in the Olympiad, which was quite a historical moment. My hobbies apart from chess are mainly sports. I enjoy all kinds of sports, but I enjoy playing badminton and watching tennis. My private life is basically chess.
We are moments away from the game beginning. 1 minute. Let's have a look.
And the players will be playing 2 blitz games of 3 minutes plus 2 seconds. And if it's tied, it's going to go to Armageddon. But take a look at what they're playing for. First prize, 18,000 euros. Second prize, not bad either, 8,000. And in the case of Armageddon, it's our favorite because White will get 5 minutes, but it's in a must-win situation. Black, 4 minutes and draw odds. And there we see a very capable arbiter, Tanya Karoli. And they're 17 seconds away from play.
Can we see them?
We can.
There we go. Abdusattorov seems to be behind the white pieces and Gukesh with the black pieces. Abdusattorov pondering his strategy here. This will be a 3 minutes plus 2 seconds game. We have liftoff.
And Abdusattorov opening with King's Pawn, and we see a Sicilian from Gukesh. Is the bishop going to come out? No. The knight comes in.
Gukesh's main opening. Abdusattorov with a small deviation from the main lines on move 3. Gukesh occupies the center in a style that Magnus Carlsen also likes to play. You can see these pawns on e5 and c5, leaving a big hole on the d5 square. But black will try to play around it. What's Abdusattorov doing with his knight?
Well, he's put it on the edge where it tends to fall off the hedge. But look at that. It's been maneuvered to the g4 square where
Wants to go all the way to d5 maybe.
He does. Put his knight on e3 and it gets chased away with pleasure. He puts that knight on e3 and like you said, Jan, that knight is hopping into d5.
Don't try this at home. Usually it's not a good idea to move the same piece 4 times in the opening, but here, because of the block nature of the position, Abdusattorov can get away with it. Clearly knows what he's doing, has not spent any time yet.
And there we see also Gukesh moving a few pieces twice. The bishop has now come to h6 and Abdusattorov calmly castled. And now big question, it's going to trade off light square bishop? Absolutely. Absolutely not. Instead, there's a trade of dark square bishop, and both players playing so quickly. It seems like it's Calmville here in the studios. I mean, take a look at this heart rates. No one is that fussed. 90 and
Abdusattorov just
97.
dropped from 100 to 90. Looks like they're calming down even more the further the game progresses. Both these guys always seem very cool, calm and collected. Unbelievable, they're 18 and 16 years old. Such veterans. What's the position like?
Yeah, it looks, I would say it's relatively balanced, but I prefer white, in the sense that white holds the key to opening up the position, and I'm a big fan of pushing pawns, and so I would love to pick up the f-pawn and move it 2 squares forward.
Yeah, Black has to play around that d5 square. He will never win the battle for that square. His reasoning is, all my other pieces are fine, but currently his king is still in the middle. I'm not sure how to get out of there. We can see the engine bar to the left of your screen. If it's in the middle, it means it's equal. So the computer is saying there's not much happening, but it does look slightly scary for Gukesh from a human perspective.
And, well, Abdusattorov following my recommendation. I get very happy when I see this. And obviously, Gukesh cannot open the position at all. And instead, he decides to clamp it with f6. And now rook f2, very classy move. Just covering the e2 square in case of any nasty forks. And Gukesh now burning time on the clock. He is around the 1.5 minute mark.
I don't like this at all for Gukesh. His pieces are not getting out. I don't trust the computer here. It doesn't look like it's moving. This looks so much better for white with the attack on the half-open f-file. Gukesh is playing to castle queenside, maybe, to leave the danger zone?
I think he has to. And now, well, only one big decision. He has to capture. I was going to say he had to capture with the f-pawn, but no. He captures with the d-pawn and sacrifices a pawn.
Oh, and I was going to say rook takes pawn with the idea if the knight recaptures, then we have a fork there, but white has to watch out for counter forks if he moves all his pieces away. Instead, Abdusattorov decides to play on the queen side, moves his pawn forward, now jumps with the knight. This looks very, very bad for Gukesh, although his heart rate says otherwise.
Well, this is a fast game, so anything can happen. I like what Gukesh is doing. He's just simply protecting all his pieces, and at some point he has to get those pieces on the right side into the game because they are just sleeping. And I just love the way that Abdusattorov is not materialistic, and he changes his mind. He's gone for that extra pawn, but in return he's freed up Black's position.
Still looks huge for white. Pawn up, the queen can enter to g5, targeting 2 pawns. Gukesh is going for counterplay with pawn to d3, and that's what he does. He's a very dangerous counter-attacking player, asking some questions. You can see Abdusattorov did not expect this turn of events. Now has to think, can't just proceed.
Yeah, he has to consider what's he going to do. I mean, I perhaps was a fan of Abdusattorov's earlier strategy of just controlling the position. Here it's gone a little bit wild. The kings, I say a little bit in the very English sense, because the kings are on opposite sides. There's a lot of open lines, and who is going to emerge superior? And, well, Abdusattorov giving back material.
Yeah, yet Black was getting too active, and now the queens are getting exchanged. The pawn will recapture. All of a sudden, Black has a dangerous pass d pawn. He's a pawn down, but this very active pawn should compensate for that small deficit. It looks like Gukesh is hanging in there. Abdusattorov, very strong endgame player. But will he be able to stop that pawn?
Well, there comes a rook to the 4th row, attacking the c4 pawn. What next?
Is weighing his options here if he has time to cover that pawn with pawn to b3, and he does it. But Gukesh could also go after that b3 pawn by advancing his rook 1 square further. Looks like if anybody's better, it's still white, because this pawn is not queening. The king comes to support the rook that's blocking it. So it's Black who has to pay attention, trying to maintain the balance. Both sides down to a minute.
Yep, and this is where the real fun begins, because the players will have us on the edge of our seats. Big decision now from Gukesh. Does he hold on, or does he grab the pawn on b3? He goes for that, then he steps back with the rook, attacking the 2 pawns. How do you defend them both? You cannot.
Can't. It does seem like Gukesh barely manages to keep the balance here. He has to be still very careful. White rook could enter the 7th rank. The pawn in front of his king is slightly weakened, but it's hanging in there.
Yeah, I love this last move from Nodirbek, eyeing up the b7 pawn from its front, and I like it. I think this is great strategy. Probably time to defend the 7th row.
Yeah, rook to h7 looks like the normal move. He's wondering if that c-pawn is a danger. That's why he goes rook c8 instead, trying to stop it. I think Gukesh is still very much in the game.
Definitely, and there we see big threat on the board of rook takes pawn.
Draw incoming. Moves will
sure?
be repeated.
Yes, I agree. There we see first repetition. Gukesh has no option.
Nodirbek is looking for a way to continue the game, but I do not see it. I expect a handshake. Yep. Draw agreed. Good defense by Gukesh there.
Excellent defense by the 16-year-old. I have to say, Nodirbek put him under a lot of pressure, and it felt like Gukesh had a very risky opening. And
it's a bad opening.
I was trying to be kind. And there we see it, a draw between the 2 players. Ooh, and this means that whoever wins in the next game will go through to the next level in the upper bracket, and if someone loses, that is it. They're going to get knocked down to the lower bracket. And here we see the moment where Abdusattorov perhaps took a risky, I would say, or dubious decision. He grabbed a pawn, but in exchange, look at this, Gukesh got active, and that was all the youngster needed.
Yeah, he's so good with active pieces. Abdusattorov never really lost control. He also understood now he has to play it more calmly, offered an exchange of queens, which will happen on the next move. But Gukesh had just enough to maintain the balance with his active d-pawn. Made a few very, very precise moves. Just such a strong all-around player. At age 16, it's shocking.
It is shocking. Teenagers are not meant to be good at the endgame, but these 2 universal players, I mean, look at their technique. And here we see the closing moments where Abdusattorov forces the repetition, and Gukesh has no choice.
We should change the rules. So you can't be a grandmaster before you reach legal drinking age, but it doesn't look like these kids agree with that.
No.
And the next game is in a minute already.
It is in under a minute. I was thinking back to what you said. What should we call these baby grandmasters? Junior grandmasters.
Yeah, they don't play like junior grandmasters. They're seasoned pros, these guys.
No.
And now with the draw, it's a tricky situation for both of them. Gukesh with the white pieces will try to put pressure. There's also the thing called fear of sudden death, meaning you don't want to risk it too much if you know with another draw that could be an Armageddon and the match goes on. Very curious how Gukesh is going to approach it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming 1d4, that's what he normally does.
Yes, I am assuming 2 as well, or maybe the knight coming out. And of course, these 2 have some long history, and 10 seconds. We have to remember last year, Gukesh was basically just blasting through the Olympiad with 8 out of 8 until he lost to Abdusattorov. And there we go. They are off. The knight comes out.
You're right again. There's the horse C. Pawn to d5 and the Rati opening. We've seen this from Gukesh earlier in the tournament. Just bringing his king to safety and not determining where to put his pawns in the middle yet.
Yeah, and I'm predicting that a pawn will move to the middle. Will it be 2 squares? Will it be 1 square? Don't keep us guessing.
C4, D4 or D3, all established moves here. Now, which one is gonna be, Gukesh? Don't overthink it, just move one.
Definitely just move. And one of the most important things that we see, okay, now it comes C4, very ambitious move, and then we see the capture of pawns in the center and staking out D4. And now
Magically, we've reached a position from the so-called Tarrasch defense big favorite of Abdusattorov's trainer, former FIDE world champion Rustam Kazımcanov. They might have had a look at this. Abdusattorov certainly still knows what he's doing.
And taking a look at the clock times, I can see that Abdusattorov seems like he's in his comfort zone. And talking about comfort zone, I saw that their heart rates were hovering around the 90 mark again. And just to give everyone some context, anything over 100 means that the player is very stressed. And if you're above 120, be concerned. Anything like 170, which we have seen before, is almost equivalent to a sprint.
This tournament is equivalent to a sprint. The players are still playing their moves very, very quickly as well. This is still fairly standard. Black has this so-called isolated pawn in the middle of the board there, which cannot defend it by any other pawns. He's trying to compensate it by free piece play. I slightly prefer white, but it's largely a matter of taste. Looks like Gukesh is happy with it too.
Yeah, I really prefer white's position, but only, as you say, because I have it in my opening repertoire. So I have to like it, therefore. I have some beef in this fight. And but black's pieces are very active, and this, of course, will be a source of great joy to Abdusattorov. And his heart rate going up to 102. One thing I would do if I were black, I would not touch the bishop on b6.
Yeah, I don't think he's moving backwards. Knight to e4 looks like a normal continuation, but instead he brings the queen out one square. The queen has to keep an eye on that knight, covering it, so it didn't have that big a range of motion. Now Gukesh has to decide if he wants to capture that bishop or if he wants to let it be. No, he takes it.
He does take it. After all, it looks like, hey, white gets the bishop pair and also gets a better pawn structure, but take a look at black's pieces. I mean, look at the freedom that they have. Rook's now centralized, knights can spring forward, and there we see the players just settling in. Very dynamic position. Both sides will be happy.
Yeah, I think white is just better. Knight to the middle, he attacks the bishop. I don't really see the appeal of black's strategy here. But Abdusattorov, of course, cannot be counted out in such a situation just yet. But white has easier play. Just rook to c1, the knight can jump to d4, he can play g4 when he feels like it's not so easy for black to target anything.
I agree. But still, don't underestimate those pesky knights. And the knight now coming to the middle of the board. Again, perhaps the knight is going to go to f5. Wow.
Abdusattorov avoiding the exchange, heading for an active square himself on c4, but knight to f5 followed by the push of the pawn to g4. This looks scary for black.
But the knight is going to spring into c4, so both sides have their pros and their cons, and there we can see it reflected in their heart rate. It's gone up to 110. Critical moment. Gukesh also burning time on the clock. Getting closer to that 1 minute mark. This is not good news because the position is heating up. He calmly moves his queen to b3. Now, whoever wins this will continue on to the upper bracket, and whoever loses this game gets relegated down to the lower bracket. They are still on their 2 lives.
Gukesh not known to be a blitz specialist. Of course, he's amazingly good at blitz too, but at his core, he's a classical player with a long time control is where he's had his best results. Let's hope he can speed up here.
Yeah, interesting move from Gukesh. Very unexpected for the knight to go to the other side of the board. What's his plan? And did you see the way that Abdusattorov immediately put his bishop on e4? And now there's been some trades. So Gukesh playing it in a very positional style. He's just saying,
I don't like
let's
what he
trade.
did. He panicked a bit, giving his bishop for the knight, but I think that gives away the lion's share of his advantage. Now, without the white bishops, black looks active enough to keep the balance.
Well, there we see more trades. And Gukesh, 36 seconds. Oh, well, it went down to 30 seconds on the clock.
He's bungling this. Now his knight is loose on b5, pawn to d4 is in the air. His king is slightly weak. Abdusattorov has taken over to some extent.
Oh no. And then look at that. When you don't have a clue what you should do, you should always just push Harry the h-pawn. And there you go. The queen comes to the aid of the white king. The h4 was a big threat in the position. And Nodirbek does it anyway. coming forward with the pawn, and you can actually see to the left of the board that the bar is also liking black's position a lot.
Yeah, this is beautiful play by Abdusattorov. Pushes his pawn. He was attacking the knight. The white pawn into cover. Now the black knight comes, joining the attack, headed for the f4 square. And this knight on b5 became a sad spectator instead of sitting on this beautiful f5 square where it could have gone earlier.
And a pawn has fallen off the board. And Abdusattorov has won the b4 pawn. Queen swings over. Okay, can he maintain his pawn on d4? Just move the knight back to c6.
Abdusattorov is just so strong, also playing more quickly, making this position look easy for black. Gukesh trying to break free here with pawn to e3. He's fighting for survival, pawn down, but it's not clear yet how Abdusattorov can solve this. Probably if he takes,
Knight takes.
a lot of material will come off the board. Yeah, the pair of rooks disappears. And he spotted this check.
Yeah, and the king just comes forward to a light square opposite color to the square the queen is standing on, and says no to the trade of rooks. Abdusattorov also has to be careful about his own king. I mean, it doesn't have the mightiest of defenders, and then the queen comes back. Both players playing it very safe, as they should do.
And now rook to f3 yet to cover this check on f4, but he's also giving up a bit on the counter chances by trying to keep his king safe here. White is still worse because he's just down a pawn, but he's avoided immediate disaster.
But if we're objective about it, it is a bad pawn that black is up. I mean, they're just double b pawns, and 7 seconds for Gukesh. Rook slides over, attacks, the queen drops back, and now the rook offers a trade.
He's made some progress here. Knight d5, he could take that simplifying, but it's probably not enough for an advantage. Maybe pawn 1 square forward. Lot to calculate. 29 seconds.
Yeah, I know. And also you have to consider the knight is going to come into e7 with check.
Pawn. Rook goes back.
Oh, this is danger zone now for Abdusattorov, because there are a lot of weak squares around his king. I love this move, solidifying everything.
Oh, is there a knight fork? Is there a knight fork on d7?
Yes, it is. Oh, he got away with it.
There's a counter fork on f4. Wasn't that obvious? But knight e8 looks like it's losing some time. Gukesh with second on the clock.
Is he going to
repeat? Back, threatening once again. The big family fork on d7. Abdusattorov is looking for a way to continue the game, but he's also down to 5 seconds.
He's going to repeat, and there you see checks.
Another draw.
But what a draw this one will be. I mean, and now
Not
3
yet.
seconds.
Could still deviate, but no.
Okay, the players have repeated 3 times, and we have a second draw. Which means our favorites.
Armageddon is coming. Great resilience there by Gukesh, not allowing his position to collapse, and the players are analyzing themselves, discussing what happened there. But we have 2 draws, 1-1.
Yes, and it felt like a tale of 2 draws. One felt solid, the other one did not feel solid at all, and with seconds left, it was a very understandable decision.
Yeah, I couldn't see an obvious way for black to make progress there either. And it might not look like much, but not to collapse in such a situation. With white, but also with black, with just seconds on the clock. Sometimes you don't see the big sacrifices, so the skill is a little more hidden, but that was an amazing game on a very high level, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And there we saw some key moments, and I love this move by Abdusattorov. You know, he just centralizes the queen, mobilizes it, gets it ready for attack and defense, and here we see the closing moments where, with seconds left on the clock, the players made a very understandable decision to just repeat moves. The position is too complicated. You don't want to take the risks, and that means one thing. And here we go, we see the final moments.
Yeah, neither player found a way to deviate from this knight back and forth. Abdusattorov clearly tried, but with 2 seconds on the clock, he decided
But
enough is enough.
you can see the panic, or the kind of, not panic I would say, but the rush of blood to the head in Abdusattorov's body language. And now we are less than a minute away from Armageddon. I feel the need for speed.
Ah, there was a rhyme coming in.
It's a quote from Top Gear.
Wasn't aware. I only know the computer game, but I don't think these guys play a lot of computer games because, as Gukesh told us, his private life is chess.
Yes.
Armageddon Championship Series 2023 with yet another decisive game. We are currently probably doing the drawing of lots, see who gets white, see who's in a must-win situation,
yeah.
Who gets black, who gets a minute less. There we are, Gukesh with the white pieces.
And we were told that it was decided by coin toss, right?
Yeah.
Heads or tails, and this is the outcome. And Gukesh with the white pieces in a must-win situation. There will be a winner, and Abdusattorov with black with 4 minutes has draw odds, and the players are going for the Sicilian. Oh, but now the bishop comes out, and this has been advocated by Jan.
Note that Gukesh deviates from his quieter strategy in the first game. Now that he's in a must-win, he goes for pawn to e4. This is the same opening that we've seen in the game. Vidit Abdusattorov, regular viewers of this program, might remember. This is the first deviation, pawn to d3. Vidit retreated with a queen instead. Maybe Gukesh has studied his opponent's games.
Maybe he has, and his heart rate is reflecting the situation he's in. It's Armageddon. The heat is on, and his heart rate has bumped up to 121, whereas Abdusattorov remaining ever so calm at 98.
Can Abdusattorov physically go above 100? That's the question I have.
Yeah, he's been over 100 before.
Apparently he can. As for the position, I like white's chances. I always like the bishops. There comes the knight, jumping, attacking the pawn. And Abdusattorov moves back and forth with the queen, which doesn't look like it was a part of his plan. White should be much better now, fixing the queen side with his a-pawn. Because if black were to advance, the b-pawn, en passant, would still capture it. Tough spot for Abdusattorov. Minute behind, bad position.
Yeah.
Will he hang in there?
Well, he has to hang in there, and he has to hang in there by basically not doing too much and doing it quickly. And there you see his just rook moves down, and now the queen just moves itself. And just all he has to do is just react to Gukesh's plans. And now the heart rate is over 100.
Yeah, his position is still bad, but not yet collapsing down. We can see
now
him
we see a
defending the pawn,
tactic.
but Gukesh spot a little trick, takes the pawn, and if the rook recaptures, he can push his pawn forward, probably winning material in the process. Nice little combination by Gukesh, because if the rook goes away, he would capture the knight, at the same time attacking the queen with his bishop. Very, very quick mind there to see this.
Yeah.
Hardly without thinking, he still has 4 minutes.
Yes, and that is a classy tactic if I ever saw one. And Abdusattorov, he's not happy. He's thinking, but the clock is ticking down to under 2.5 minutes. And just to remind everyone, neither side are getting any increments. What you see on the clock is what you get. And so he decides to go knight takes pawn and give up the exchange.
Yeah, this
It's
is
bad.
Pretty bad, especially if we also take the clock into account. Gukesh not even in a hurry to take that rook, because he can just strengthen his position and take whenever he feels like. Abdusattorov is forcing him to. White is up a rook against a knight, which should be a decisive advantage, but...
Yeah. And, well, anyhow, we see great play from Gukesh. Look at the way that he's moved his queen and bishop up the board, and king is probably going to follow suit. But there you go.
Looks like it's just random moves, making random moves, trying to be quick, but Abdusattorov is also not wasting any time. He's such a competitor, you can see how he's still fighting.
And the rook now lifting up to the 4th row, perhaps getting ready for G3, G4 at some stage. But Abdusattorov says, nope, that's not going to happen on my watch. And still, a lot of
the
tension.
problem is, where do you break through? You have more material, but you don't have any obvious pawn breaks. G4 is not happening yet, D4 is not happening yet.
Not yet.
It's not so easy to target anything. So Gukesh tries maneuvering with his rook, just looking for places to enter. Now offers an exchange of queens.
Queen is going to say no and steps back. And did you see the way that Abdusattorov is just quickening the pace? The queen moves back, yeah. draw, and Nodirbek would of course snatch the draw in his hands, but Gukesh, he is up material, he's not going to go for that. And
he's also in a must-win situation, but he hasn't made a lot of progress over the last couple of moves yet. This is the same position we had a while ago, and he tries to change the nature of it by pushing his d-pawn.
Yeah, he pushes one more go, one more move. Good stuff.
Oh yeah, he takes on d5. That's opening the position up for the white bishop. Did he have to do that? Now it looks really bad. Yeah, I don't like that move. I thought he had to keep the position close, because now the rook on e1 has a clear vision. The bishop can take on d5, come into the game. Yeah, there comes the bishop. This really helped white's chances, because now these pieces are doing something.
Yeah, I agree. And Gukesh relying on a trusty maneuver, offering trade of queens.
Now the queen
says
can't
do
step
that
back so easily, because he can take the knight. No, why didn't he do that? Take it. Take the horse.
He's going for it now. And this is
just over.
Winning.
Yeah, Nodirbek shaking his head. He knows something has gone wrong. White will emerge a piece up.
Yeah.
This is it. Still 2 minutes for Gukesh, the 16-year-old, just cruising through this competition. Abdusattorov resigns, piece down. Gukesh wins the Armageddon.
What a performance from the 16-year-old. Such a great game. And there we see the final results. It was a victory for Gukesh in the end in the Armageddon.
Yeah, that was a hard-earned victory. Even after his trick giving him an almost winning position, he had to find a way to crack open the position, and it took him a while to find the correct plan. But in the end, he did manage. Let's have a look at some of the highlights. Here we see it's a very nice tactic.
And the way that Gukesh played it, at tempo, you know, it's like, nope, I kind of calculate these puzzles in my sleep, and just look at that. So quick and so good. What a great performance from Gukesh. And here we see another critical moment. This is where Jan felt that Black's position went from chances to absolutely lost after the capture of pawns in the middle. There you see bishop takes pawn, and White's bishop is now liberated.
Yeah, Abdusattorov trying to hang in there, but now with so much freedom on the board, the rooks really have enough targets, and Gukesh does not let go. Pins the knight there. Queen e8 blitzed out, but the problem is this knight is overloaded. White just takes it, and after exchanges, White will emerge with an extra piece. The game is over.
Yeah. What a performance. What a game. And Gukesh actually getting a revenge for his defeat at the 2022 Olympiad.
What do we have? Do we have an interview? What's going on?
And well, talking about who wins the battles, I mean, Gukesh also wins the battle when it comes to the highest heart rate, but loses when it comes to calories burnt. I feel that these calories burnt is not a fair representation of all the emotion, all the stress, the adrenaline, the joy that one goes through.
And let's switch to Fiona with the interview.
Nodirbek, of course, not the result you wanted. It was a very close and exciting match. Let's maybe start with the Armageddon game. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I've played this line, which I played against Vidit. Yeah, I think he was a little bit prepared, but he overall played very fast, Armageddon. So yeah, I just couldn't catch up with his speed, I think.
The first two games, the first one looked quite even, but the second one was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I just didn't convert. I mean, two big advantage positions. So yeah, I think it's fair to, you know, if you don't win the kind of position, yeah, you deserve to lose. Yeah.
It was your first Armageddon. What was it like, you know, with the lighting all red? What did it feel like sitting there?
Yeah, it felt quite amazing. Yeah, I played with Black, and I thought it will be some interesting game, but he would just play too fast. Yeah.
Well, you are still in the tournament, of course, and we'll see you back very soon. But for now, back to the studio with Jovanka and Jan.
Thank you, Fiona. And it is a great pleasure to have with us in the studio, Gukesh. And woo, talk us through that match. That was exciting.
Yeah, so basically the first 2 games I was pretty much busted. The middle games, but I somehow managed to survive. I actually learned, I kind of applied what I learned from Abdusattorov. Like, his defense is just amazing, and I think I defended well the first 2 games. And yeah, Armageddon, I thought, I saw the scrambles happen in the last 2 matches, and I thought it's better to have an extra minute. And yeah, the Armageddon, he made this weird plan with Rook E7, Queen F8, and I think it was just not very good, and he blundered the exchange with Knight D6, Rook D6, E5, and after that it was, I mean, I was moving around a bit, but I had a lot of time, and the position was also winning, so yeah.
I was going to ask, when you were this exchange up, did you feel it's just a question of time, or did you panic at some moment, there's no way in, and what do I do next?
I thought because I was so up on time, I'll just keep making moves. Although I was also trying to find a way in, but I couldn't, like I didn't want to spend a lot of time, so I was just moving around, and yeah, he cracked at some point, so.
Is it special for you to win against Abdusattorov in any format? Do you think it's another young guy who's on his rise? Is that like special tension, or is it just a regular day at the office?
I mean, of course there is some rivalry between us. I mean, all the youngsters, there is this, some rivalry, but yeah, I mean, of course Olympiad was a horrible memory, but I also have some really nice memories against him. Played one of my best games against him in BL, so. Yeah, he's an exciting opponent, and of course winning against any strong opponent is special.
Congratulations and best of luck for the rest of the event. We'll see you back soon.
Thank you. And we have to mention one of our partners, the FIDE Online Arena, which hosts rated tournaments and games 24 hours per day. Join the arena and get a FIDE ID, profile on FIDE.com, access to pro chess community, as well as official online ratings and titles recognized by the International Chess Federation, prize money tournaments, and much more. So play chess at chessarena.com.
And we're back. Our second encounter of the day, about to begin in the Armageddon Series, Asia, Oceania. Parham Maghsoodloo, the man from Iran, against the living legend, Vladimir Kramnik.
Yes, and there we can see Parham Maghsoodloo. He became a grandmaster at 16 years old. He's 3-time national champion, as well as junior world champion in 2018. He tells us, lose, win or draw, he just likes to fight. So let's hear more from the man himself.
I'm Parham Maghsoodloo, #1 chess player of Iran. I started chess when I was about 10. I've been playing for 13 years, and firstly I learned chess from my father. My style is just playing very sharp, very aggressive. I want to win or lose, it doesn't matter for me. I just want to play fighting chess, which chess fans love it. I'm just super confident all the time, and whenever I get bad position over the board, I don't think in a negative way. I just think that it's good position, it's fighting position, and I can play very good and win the games. I think anyone who wins tournament, which is 11 rounds, and you win in 10 rounds, it's just very special. think for anyone it's like this, because it shows that you could like handicap one game to the tournament and still win the tournament. I just make balance between my friends, my family, the time to spare with them, and also with chess and all things with chess. I think I can balance all this, so that's why I'm improving in my life.
We'll see if Parham can balance the encounter against Vladimir Kramnik, the oldest participant at 47, a veteran of many World Championship matches, defeated Garry Kasparov in the year 2000, the year his opponent was born, then played Peter Leko, Veselin, Topalov and Vishy Anand in more clashes for the crown. Of course, he has many other achievements. Even though he retired in 2019 from classical chess, he remains a force in rapid and blitz.
Yeah, and to remember, he knocked down Daniil Dubov, you know, who has a rating of 2802 to the lower bracket, so not a man to be underestimated. And let's hear more from Kramnik in his own words.
I'm Vladimir Kramnik, grandmaster, former world chess champion, 47 years old, had a very long chess career. I've stopped professional chess since 2019. My father taught me chess when I was 5, then I fall in love with it, and here am I, a professional chess player. Nowadays I'm not playing professional chess, so nowadays I can say that chess is my passion and it's my hobby. As the former world chess champion, famous Robert James Fischer, have said once, there is a winning style and losing style. I'm more concentrating on the level of my chess than the style of it. Definitely the most memorable moment for me is my World Championship match against Garry Kasparov, the 13th World Chess Champion in London 2000. I managed to win it and to become the 14th World Champion. I think the most important skills to be on the very top of anything you do, in chess in particular, it's to strengthen your character day after day.
Oof, I'm out of water. I took a zip every time Kramnik said chess, and in 1 minute he will get to play some more chess against Parham.
He loves chess, and
Must be nice.
Yeah, I mean, after he beat Daniil Dubov, I think he went off to play some more chess, and that is a man that adores the game. But anyway, 35 seconds away from this incredibly exciting encounter. We have two players who love to fight, two players who are exceptionally confident as well. They believe that they are winning even when they are losing.
Yeah, this should be a lot of fun. Parham, born in the year 2000 when Kramnik became world champion for the first time. And Parham is far from the youngest participant in this event. Very different styles. Parham, very adventurous. Kramnik, known as a very correct player, although he became more adventurous the further his career progressed. And we are off, pawn to d4. The Queen's Gambit. Great TV show on YouTube.
It is a great TV show, and now the players have played a Slav formation. What are we going to see Parham choose? It's a knight.
One of the horses. Move one of the horses, Parham.
Yeah, but Parham likes to spring surprises. I wonder whether he's considering moving a pawn forward, maybe even capturing a pawn in the middle. No.
It's a 3-minute game, Parham. You shouldn't think for 3 minutes about your third move. That's just bad management. That's the horsey.
That's the slow Slav. Now, is he gonna develop another horse, or did I just say horse? Yeah.
It's knight. It's knight. We see the so-called semi-Slav by Kramnik. Very sharp opening. Kramnik had a lot of battles in this memorable game. He won in '96, believe it or not, against Garry Kasparov on the black side of this. Pawn to b5, bishop to d3, bishop to d6. All still theory. Kramnik still doing his homework.
Yeah. And Kramnik very much in his comfort zone. He's played this position before. I remember there was a similar kind of game that he had against Kasparov, which was very nice, but not in this exact position. And now he pushes the white knight away, and the white knight has a choice. It can go to the edge of the board, or it can go to the middle. But either way, you gotta stop black from breaking out with c6, c5.
Yeah, that's why he goes to the middle now after the captures. The pawn is pinned for now. But Kramnik will pursue that push slowly, bring his bishop out, then bring the queen out, and maybe chase that bishop away from the e4 square, then to break free. I think he's still in book. Heart rate a little higher, but I do not believe that's because he's overly nervous here.
And I like his last move. It was a little bit surprising, but it makes a nice square for the bishop to retreat to once it's attacked. And Kramnik thinking, I mean, is he going to develop the queen? That's what I would do. Put the queen somewhere where it protects the bishop on b7, and then get ready for that c5 break. You want to liberate the light squared bishop. What's he going to do?
Taking his time here.
He's considering his options.
Horsey, Vladdy.
Okay.
Yeah, there comes the horsey, knight
comes
f6,
back.
the bishop goes back. And the problems still remain. He has to cover this bishop on b7 in order to push his pawn. But how do you do it?
Okay.
Queen to e7? No?
Yeah, no, he's reaching for his
Different ideas? Bishop back.
bishop back. Well, that's unexpected.
That does not look like the way to do this. Something has gone wrong for the legend. Not that he's in big trouble or anything, but if you don't clarify the situation, your pawns are a bit broken on the queen side here, while white has better control of the center. So if he gives white time to stabilize, queen out, knight to b3, then it should just be pressure. There comes the queen.
There comes the queen. And second one, it's going to be what you suggest, knight b3. And then now the rook comes, and of course, white will go, no, I'm not going to go for that one. And the knight will come out to b3, yes.
Parham playing the moves I suggest. That's an excellent sign for him.
It is. Well, these are great moves. So, and looking at the heart rates, we can see that both players, well, they are riding high. They are over 130. And just remember that if your heart rate is over 120, this means that you are under a lot of stress. And the higher it goes, the worse it gets.
Kramnik retreating again. First he moves the bishop back, now the knight back. He is trying to get in this pawn to c5 advance. And it looks like rook to d1 was maybe a little superficial, because now the queen comes out and c5 looks very, very hard to stop. I think Parham might have missed the moment there to maybe establish his knight on c5, blocking that advance for good.
But you know what? I have a suspicion that Parham might just sacrifice material, might just put his knight on c5 and say, hey, take my pawn. But in
I
return,
have a suspicion he won't do that.
you think, well,
Let's find out.
let's find out. He
But
probably
it looks
won't.
like his advantage has dwindled somewhat, because if black gets that advance,
Okay.
e5.
But the players are just moving their pieces backwards and forwards.
Yeah,
And there it
Parham
comes,
was
c5.
Black is fine now, and if black is fine in these positions, he even has potential to be better. It was really just one superficial move by Maghsoodloo, putting his rook to d1, that threw away all his advantage. And now Kramnik is very much in his element. He's been playing these positions for literally 30 years.
He's been playing them before for more years than Parham has been alive.
Sure.
And there we see a trade of pawns in the middle, and the bishops come off the board. And the big question for Parham now is, how on earth is he going to develop his dark square bishop? I mean, look at those pieces, they're still sleeping. Okay, now we see more trades, and Parham now under a minute.
And worse, this might not look like much because the material is equal, but white really struggles to bring his rook out from the corner. The queen is eyeing that a2 pawn,
And
the c4 pawn is coming.
take a look at that pawn majority working its magic down the queen side. Ooh, that was not a move that Parham played with joy.
He had to keep his a pawn alive, but now this far advanced pawn on b3 will always be a menace if these black pawns move a little further. This pawn is so close to coronation. Kramnik with a positional masterclass here.
Yeah, and now the b pawn is threatening to roll one more square.
Kramnik also ahead on the clock.
It's looking good.
Looking excellent for
And,
former champion.
Parham now lining up his queen and rook on the same right line. What's he thinking of? Okay, makes a trade. Is he gonna switch into attack the weak pawn on d5 mode? No, he goes for the plan that I've been advocating. Just create
Checkmate, checkmate threat. Vladi, pay attention. Cover the pawn, move the bishop back.
Yeah,
Great
he
job.
does.
He covered it, and now he can proceed with his pawn avalanche.
Yeah, and the 17 seconds now for Maghsoodloo, and his position is really quite shaky. And he pushes the A-pawn, and Kramnik, I like the way that he just switches. Suddenly he was pushing pawns, now he's attacking white's weak pawns. And again, don't be tempted to grab the D-pawn.
Defend.
Defend, defend, consolidate the king.
Queen to the middle.
That's what we learned from Abdusattorov and Gukesh. Put the queen.
He wants the pawn, he wants to take.
No.
He's too tempted by that A-pawn.
No, that's forbidden fruit. You can't do that. Because if you take the pawn, then the rook will swoop down to the 8th line. And
Take the pawn, leave the cannoli. He does take, and
oh, but look at
playing
this.
with fire. The rook is under attack. Can't take the bishop.
No, and he's got 31 seconds to take.
Where do you go? The D-pawn is coming now. He's made a mess out of this by taking that unimportant pawn on A4. He should have listened to you.
Yeah, he should have. And there we can see Maghsoodloo's heart rising to 158. And there's loads of trouble in the world.
Counterpin, what a beautiful move. Queen to E8. But there is a tactic. Pinning, unpinning. No, Maghsoodloo messed it up. I'm not sure what he missed here. But Kramnik, after some very tense moments, emerges with an extra bishop.
Yeah, and 20 seconds for the former world champion. He has to move, attacks the queen, but a piece is a piece, as they say, and it's going to be enough to net.
Rook to F5,
victory.
you can do it.
He can.
No,
he moves his king.
Safety first. But it doesn't matter.
Okay, now we see a trade, and that's okay. With handshake, and Kramnik takes the first point with the black pieces. Oh.
1-0 lead for Vladimir Kramnik. A couple of key moments where this game really was turning. Overall, very, very strong performance. Big Vlad.
Yeah. And it was a very strange opening, I would say. Both players like maneuvering, and then you kind of nailed it. There was an inaccuracy, and here's the moment where Vladimir Kramnik starts moving his pieces forward and starts grabbing the initiative, and big threat on the board of a checkmate on G7. Some calm defense from the world champion.
Yeah, Kramnik already with a big advantage here, but then he was very tempted to grab that pawn. And here we see the queen returning from its expedition, pinning that bishop. There was a key move. Queen back to E8, probably missed by Parham. And Kramnik, after all the trouble, emerges a piece up, which he will then go on to convert.
Yeah, and there you go. Suddenly everything drops from the white position. Just when it looked dangerous, the clock proved to be Parham's enemy. And what a game. What a start from the 14th world champion. He's not the world champion. And 2 seconds, wow, trades. And once the rooks come off, all hopes for salvaging the game disappear. And there we see a handshake from the Iranian #1. And, well, Parham losing with the white pieces now just has 50 seconds to recover from that defeat.
Yeah, he needs to win with black if he wants to prolong this match, stay in the upper bracket. How do you do that? How do you put pressure on Vladimir Kramnik with the black pieces? It's a tough challenge.
It is a tough challenge, but it's been done before. We saw Dubov and Kramnik fight it out in the Armageddon. We have seen comebacks in this series before. Parham just has to make sure that he keeps enough pieces to maintain the tension. We are 13 seconds away from the beginning of play. Players are full focus.
Trying to get his heart rate below 150, so he's good to go. Let's see.
And that's it. They're off. And
129, solid.
Yes.
On to E4, aggressive by Kramnik.
And, well...
You only need a draw, Vladimir.
I'm surprised by that. I thought he would have gone back to some trusty favorites, but instead...
It's going to be... Oh, the...
Sveshnikov. Oh no, is this Kalashnikov?
Yeah, that's what they call this. Very strange structure. Once again, we see this weakened d5 square, which black will try to play around. Kramnik, no stranger to this opening.
No, but this was recently played by Hikaru Nakamura with great success.
Yeah.
Will Vlad have watched or followed
I'm sure
the series?
he's a big fan. He does not approve of any moral degradation in the opening, so he will certainly be studying how Hikaru has approached this. And Maghsoodloo, wondering what piece to move first, brings the rook, not committing with the bishop yet.
Yeah, and talking about heart rate, both players have a very excitable 136, and we see Maghsoodloo developing his bishop. All good stuff.
The
And
problem
what is white
Maghsoodloo
gonna
has, this is not his main opening. He's in a must-win situation, so he had to play something risky, but you can see he's not familiar with the subtleties. He's spending time, and he does not exactly know what piece should go where. I have a feeling he's winging it a little bit. Well, Kramnik has a very solid setup, no castles, and he will attack the d6 pawn. Looks nice for white.
Yeah, definitely looks nice for white. And castles, but there's a lot of play in these kind of structures. I've noticed that, yes, white has this amazing square on d5, but black's pieces, they're a little bit pesky. Some knights can reroute themselves, and black also does have a square on d4 to annoy white. And there you see the knight rerouting to e7. What's it doing there? I'm not really sure, but there's an attack on the c4 pawn.
Yeah,
Kramnik has to defend.
I don't like any of this, but Kramnik facing the decision how to cover the pawn. Pawn to b3 look natural, but then pawn to b5, exploiting the pin you want to avoid, so he puts the knight on the edge of the board to cover the pawn. He still has such a solid formation that I still think he's very comfortable here.
And what I liked about Kramnik is he made a face.
Oh.
When Parham played his move, he kind of went, don't necessarily give it my approval.
So he is watching Hikaru videos.
Yeah, maybe.
Queen to d2, rook coming to d1. Yeah, Kramnik is in control here. Also, Parham is moving the knight back and forth, showing that mission didn't really help. Kramnik moves on with the draw, so he can offer a move repetition here. He's saying, you go back, I go back, you go back again. We shake hands. I win.
Yeah, that is not an attractive choice for Parham. And so now he attacks the pawn in a different way. And now this time...
pawn to b3.
b3. And
The
now...
knight is covered.
This was Parham's dream all along, just to explode open those stronghold on c5. But he's given up a pawn.
He wants to go if pawn takes pawn, queen to c7, targeting all these pieces on the c file. I have my doubts
But
if
does it
that
work?
really works, but it's certainly making it more complicated, which is what he needs. And looks like Kramnik, a bit surprised by the turn of events, taking a moment here to regain his composure. He could just wait, allow black to take on c4, then go pawn to b4 as a counter, and yeah, that's what he does. Giving up a pawn, but keeping control. I like how he handles this.
I like how he handles this as well. No need for any complications whatsoever. Just positional excellence.
See, the knight on b7 is dominated by the white pawn. It can't really move anywhere because the pawn covers all the good squares he has. So even though white is a pawn down, it is white who does control the situation.
Ooh,
Parham
look
will
at
not
this.
sit idly.
He
Nice.
gives back a pawn as well, just to liberate his pieces. And now the bishop is out, attacking the knight.
Yeah, he's
Still.
managed to mix it a little bit.
Definitely, and the knight on b7, which you kindly pointed out, was dominated by the pawn on b4, is going to find a new home, blockading the d5 pawn.
Yeah, we don't want that. Can we push the pawn, or will black just take that? It's gonna get complicated. Yeah, he doesn't do it. Now the knight can return into action, and black is all of a sudden completely fine. I wonder where it went wrong for Vladdy.
Yeah.
Can't really put my finger on it.
Maybe allowing this d5 break. But anyway, that was in the past. You've got to focus on the present.
Live in the moment. So
Exactly. It's very important. The present is a gift, as they say. And anyhow,
Oh,
both players on 136, and now Maghsoodloo under the minute. And the position is still red hot. Oh, he's reaching for the e-pawn. Ooh.
He's in his element now. His pieces have scope. He can try to create complications. Pawn to e4 gives up a key square in the middle of the board. So I'm not sure how good that was, but it does look that Parham is confident. Really, really leaning into the board here.
Yeah. And
Kramnik tries to keep it close.
he does try to keep it close, but the first thing I would do is every move has its consequences, and I would be putting a bishop on the d4 square as quickly as I could. And there we see a trade. Nice. Good stuff.
Kramnik trying to keep it all under control here. As they say, keep your friends close, but your position closer. Pawn to h4, and
oh, now he's following. And now the knight comes to d6. Perfect blockading square for the knight. And I wonder whether Kramnik is actually gonna say to... Oh, what's he reaching for? He's reaching to trade off bishops.
he's nervous. He spotted something?
No.
What was he spotted?
He
Has
just
missed
wants to
something?
trade off bishops.
Take the bishop. What's the problem?
There's no problem.
Yeah.
There you go. I wonder whether he will go f5. Or maybe he will move the queen. Okay, yeah, he
he's
moves the
trying
queen.
to play it safe. But can you control a Parham Maghsoodloo in such a situation? Queen to f6, targeting the pawn. Kramnik keeps retreating, trying to cover everything. But there comes the c-pawn. This is a mess now.
Complete mess. And the players, well, they are around 30 seconds. What will happen is the players will play very good chess, should say. And they will maintain this. They, look at this.
Another Zwischenzug. This man does not respect his queen. He just counterattacks. And there comes the queen stepping to the side.
Can you do that? Isn't there some knight? Oh, queen takes pawn. It's blow for blow chess here. And the queen centralizing. Oh, this position is still crazy.
Yeah, queen e4 I like, because the queen now can enter the d4 square, giving a check, giving a lot of stability to the white position.
Parham,
Showing
is he
great
reaching
board
for?
vision there.
Okay, he's moving the queen to attack the
Takes
knight.
Pawn.
Now the smoke is cleared. We see that Kramnik is a pawn up. Looking good.
Great
for...
shape now, and he has this check. This was the key. Giving himself a little breather. Oh, pieces start dancing a little bit.
No, you can't do that. You get an extra 2 seconds that means you should be able to correct your pieces. Okay, 7 seconds for Parham, and the d-pawn is rolling up the board.
Yeah, there comes the d-pawn cramping the black position. Kramnik is in control now.
Just has to steady his nerves. Now the h-pawn is dropping with check, but still there is a lot of pressure along the d-line with that d7 pawn on the board. And attacking the queen. Parham saying, hey, I've got a pass pawn too.
Yeah, but it's less impressive than that pawn on d7, I have to say. White is also a pawn up, could go f5 now, opening the position further. Feels like you can see Kramnik doubting a little bit what to move, and he hangs a pawn.
Oh no.
He's nervous. Just hung this pawn for no good reason.
No, he's, as you
still
say,
fine.
It's nerves. He's panicking.
Queen 7, there comes the
that's
knight.
a nice move. Threatening.
Oh, knight f6 check. Is that it? He doesn't do it.
No.
Why didn't he do it?
Because the knight was attacking the queen, so there was complications there. And 3 seconds for Parham. Look how Parham is playing, just surviving. And now the a-pawn drops. And still not over. Kramnik, don't panic. You have 15
Get 2 seconds per move, Vladimir. This is not Armageddon yet. Oh, tactics! He spotted a knight fork, and this should be decisive. Queen b8, beautiful move, covering all the squares, making sure this pawn queens. And Parham loses on time, but his position was lost as well. Oof, Kramnik, a little shaky there, but came through in the end.
Yeah, that game had us at the edge of our seats, and there we see the final score. I mean, it was a very convincing match for Vladimir Kramnik, 2-0.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just keeps cruising.
He does.
The veteran.
It seems
soon he will be facing these teenagers.
Yeah, well, he'll be facing Gukesh next, and well, Parham, we have to give all credit to him because he found some magnificent resources. And here, you know, he's a pawn up, but he returns that pawn in order to activate his pieces. Great stuff from the Iranian #1.
Yeah, really made Kramnik work there. You can't hope for an advantage with black in a must-win situation out of the opening, but you can hope for a mess, and that's what he got. It was so fast-paced at this point here after pawn to e3. I have to admit, I have no clue what was happening, if white was still in control or not. Queen goes over.
Yeah, pawns are dropping, messy positions, so chaotic, and it just felt like a shootout somehow. Both sides just dealing those blows, and Kramnik, I love the way he plays here. He doesn't take any risk whatsoever, and he simply just improves his pieces, just getting time on his clock. Look at that king tuck there.
Yeah, touch of class there, putting his king out of the danger zone, and then he delivers the final blow with this very nice combination. Let's have a look. Queen takes rook, and if black were to recapture, the knight fork on e6, attacking the king and the queen, would have meant the end. And here, queen out of the way, now the pawn can step one forward, become another queen.
And all Parham can do is look at the clock, and that's it. It ticks down to 0-0. His position was completely hopeless. Brilliant game by Vladimir Kramnik. I have to say, it was such a great fight, and there we can see some other lovely stats. We see that Parham won the highest heart rate at 175. That's incredible. That's the equivalent to Parham sprinting 100 meters.
Yeah, Kramnik 152, not bad either. Let's switch to the interview with Parham Maghsoodloo.
Testing mic. Parham, not the result, of course, that you wanted. The second game, though, it looked in the end like it was almost getting close.
Yeah, I think it was very close in the second game. I chose the right opening to play against him. I've got the best chance that I can make, and I think at somewhere it was very close. I was just very low on time to remember what I analyzed in this line, so that's why I was in time trouble the whole game. And I think his strategy was just playing very fast against me, because he knew that I will be very, very tricky in time trouble. So I think he was just playing very fast without any doubt. So that's why he got a very good chance to win the match, and I got collapsed after it gets very complicated, and in low time I couldn't focus.
Your heart rate went up all the way to 175. Did you feel very stressed?
Yeah, of course I was. After first game, because I was so shocked that I lost this position, my hand was shaking all the time, so I knew that it's a bit high.
Tell me, what did it feel like? You told me you had never played against Kramnik over the board. What did it feel like to be playing him?
I think it was feeling very good, and that's what I expected from our match. I think both games was super complicated and very decisive games, and I really liked the way we played. I think it was close games, but it was not close results because I couldn't control my nerve, and I thought for a very long time in blitz you shouldn't do it, because I think I have a lot of respect for him, so I was thinking to play really good.
You have another match tomorrow. What do you feel you can maybe adjust, or is there something you can do before the next match?
Who is my opponent?
I think Nodirbek, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think I will try to play faster for tomorrow. It was not so good to play so slow, especially against Kramnik, because I think he plays very good, but when he goes down on time, then he can make so many mistakes. So I think it was my biggest mistake today.
Okay, well, thank you, Parham, and for now back to the studio with Jovi and Jan.
Thank you, Fiona, and it is my great pleasure to be here in the studio alongside Vladimir Kramnik, who just defeated Parham Maghsoodloo in what is a very gripping match.
I don't know. I mean, I was kind of lucky with black at some point. The opening went well for me, and position was getting better and better, and then I was just afraid to spoil it. I almost managed, but finally I won the game. And then the second was easier, even though still, well, my resourceful opponent had found some ways to create me some problems, so it was a bit tricky at some point, but I think I managed to keep control of the game.
Mm-hmm.
In that first game, you looked like you had a great position, then at some point you took the a4 pawn, and it almost felt, I didn't see like he could be back in the game. Were you worried that anymore?
I was worried, yeah, I was definitely worried, yeah, but I mean, I was worried, but it's a bit difficult to play when you have like 40 seconds against 5 seconds, yeah, because I understand that any move can be the last one, because in fact I was searching for a kind of unexpected moves. So then, no, but I think I should have just taken on d5, for instance. I mean, there was some tactics, bishop takes g7, queen g6, but I think it all worked for me. But yeah, I got a little nervous. I mean, I don't know what was my heart rate, but I got a bit nervous because
152 was highest.
Yeah,
it's high, but
yeah, but I mean, yeah, this queen a4 was a bad idea, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it was a practical choice, not a good one. But finally, it was a correct, probably, in a practical sense.
When you need a draw with the white pieces, do you change your strategy, or do you just think I'll play normal opening?
No, I just wanted to play normal opening anyway, yeah, and I mean, white is quite safe after e4, so not only after d4, as far as I know, at least. So, but yeah, I was happy with my position out of the opening, but then, yeah, then was a little inaccurate. I should have probably avoided this idea knight a5, b5, even though I felt like objectively I was always in control in this game. But of course, at some point, it started to get unnecessarily, for me, complicated. But I think I managed to, maybe not with perfect play, but I managed to keep control all game long. That's what my feeling.
And you'll be playing 16-year-old Gukesh in the next game. How do you feel about that?
Good, because he's extremely talented, and Gukesh was a part of the 2 training sessions I made for Indian kids, also together with Prague and other best Indian players. So yeah, I'm very glad that he's improving and improving. I mean, I was sure he is going to be a top player, and if not already. So yeah, it's very nice to play with him. I mean, I'm very feel a lot of sympathy to him, and also, yeah, I believe he has a really great talent. So it will be difficult for me, of course, because age difference is quite significant. But
you're not fooling anybody.
No, but I mean, yeah, I mean, reactions, of course, he's faster, but I have more experience. So maybe I can try to fight, and I can try to make my advantages work at the end of the day. But of course, it will be a very difficult match for me, for sure.
Thank you so much, Vladimir Kramnik, and best of luck for the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.
Thanks. And I'd like to mention one of our partners, Kaspersky.com. Now, Kaspersky is a digital and technology online services provider, and it's the perfect combination for chess, helping support chess in its online expansion into the online world. Chess is human excellence and strong technology, the perfect combination.
Speaking of human excellence, who do we have tomorrow?
Yes, and yeah, we're going to see a big matchup because it is elimination day as we see Parham Maghsoodloo face off against Vidit Gujrathi, and we have Karthikeyan against Nodirbek Abdusattorov. There will be 2 players leaving the competition, and it's gonna be incredibly exciting.
Yeah, make no mistakes, all these guys can still win the tournament. It's just a slightly longer route from the lower bracket, but they're still in it. Can't wait.
And we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. See you then.